through storms, unshaken, unbowed. Through trials and verdicts, still standing proud. A titan in the tempest, against the raging crowd. He's got a vision for the future, gonna shout it aloud. Change in the wind, it's coming fast. A new foundation built to last. Cryptocurrency's the key. Make the big switch. Power to the people. Time to teach the rich. Legal battles can't hold him. He's moving on. With plans so bold, from dusk till dawn. He's rewriting the rules. A new dawn's day. From the hands of the few to the people's way. Say goodbye to all chains, embrace the new. A financial revolution, fair and true. For the workers, the dreamers, side by side. In Trump's new era, let freedom rise. Change in the wind, it's coming fast. A new foundation built to last. Cryptocurrency's the key. Make the big switch. Power to the people. Time to ditch the rich. He's a fighter, a leader with a plan to share. A world of justice, well spread fair. Forget the old guards, the time is done. Under the banner of Trump, we all have won. So here's to the
Welcome, everyone, to the Crazy Cryptonaut channel. I am Zester, and thank you so much for joining me this morning. I know we probably have a lot of folks that are actually busy over and watching Dr. Max Justice over on the original Mark Z show. I was very excited. I get to talk with Dr. Max very often. I was very excited for him getting to come in and chat with Pops today. And so I was actually watching along as well. And so I imagine we're going to have a flux of folks coming in the next couple of minutes or however long it takes until people run out of questions for Dr. Max over there. But we're going to go ahead and jump on into all of it, say some hellos and some good mornings. I know we're going to have a whole other section of hellos and good mornings to say in just a little bit, but we're going to go ahead and go for it. Stay on schedule, and we'll just hang out for a bit. Anybody that has some personal type questions, personal crypto questions, not personal questions, please, now would be a great time for us to jump into some of those. And we'll hang out for just a little bit because I know. I had a feeling that when everybody got an opportunity to hear from Dr. Max, that it was going to be quite the exciting time, and that folks were not going to want to let him go. And so let's go ahead and jump into it, though. Crypto, all the markets, really not looking all that great at the moment. But let's dive into the why after we say some good mornings. Then we'll jump into try to find a kernel of logic inside of what's going on in the current markets. Good morning, Crypto Warden. Crypto Warden, wow, I'm early and not late for once. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Crypto Warden, and welcome. I'm glad you got to come in for an early one, Crypto Warden. Happy to have you. Oh, good morning, Deborah. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining. Good morning, Darren. Good morning. I want to get very French when I try to pronounce your screen name. I imagine it's like tout va bien. Like I'm not quite certain why, but I absolutely do every time I see it. And yes, we do need to stay positive with all the muck being thrown around at the moment. And I mean, that is whether you're talking about what's going on in global politics, or whether you're looking at the markets and you're looking at your retirement or your portfolio, we need to keep in mind positivity essentially is the only response. We're going to talk a lot about that. Something that I always talk about is whenever you see things like this, or prices drastically dropping or prices massively increasing, emotion comes into the conversation. And so we're going to talk about that today. Really, the biggest thing here is avoiding emotion when it comes down to making decisions, because especially what's going on at the moment, a lot of retail investors, and when I say retail, I mean you and me, are getting tricked right now into selling at losses and into panicking really over nothing at all. And so we're definitely going to be chatting about that. Silver, gold, XRP, Bitcoin, depending on what stocks you may hold in the stock market. It really doesn't matter where you look. The price is not looking great today. Oh, I am. I'm so glad to be here. Darren scooped another hundo of XRP by the dip. This really is starting to look like the dip to kind of go a little bit heavier on. We haven't been back down to these levels since I believe it was April of 2025 was the last time that we were down to these levels, was April of 2025 during one of the massive tariff style scares. I'll have to check that numbers. I'm certain we'll see it as we go through the articles today, but this is probably one of the best dips that have come around. Darren Rutt, what if we team up and made a free coin to play with to Denarian? I would donate some Solana for the cause. I'm happy to make different cryptocurrencies. Very, very happy to make them, to launch them. It just requires a very, very clear understanding from everyone that if you're going to make a fun token, a fun coin, it's not fundamentally backed by anything. Ultimately, it just exists, and it's fun, and you might make some money or you might lose money. It's one of those things where I'd be happy to do it, be happy to throw that out there, but I don't want for it to become something that's more than what it's meant to be. I think that a large part of the meme coin problem out there is that people essentially take them seriously, and that there's really nothing wrong with the meme coins. The problem is that people take them seriously. If everyone just understood, hey, this is essentially that which comes out the rear end of the bull, then it really would be a lot more fun. I just don't want to do that because someone won't think about it that way. Someone won't think about it as, oh, this is fun. It's a joke. I'm going to buy a little bit of this and we're going to give out funny stickers. If you own this much, and it's going to be really, really, really super cheap. You're essentially going to get to own some for a couple pennies. Somebody out there will take it too seriously. I don't know. I'm open to that, though, if anybody has other opinions on it. Very open. That's exactly how you pronounce it. All right. It means all is well. All is well in French. Okay. Well, I'm going to absolutely give all credit to all of my efforts learning Spanish over the past couple of years. And I'll just say that that's the reason that I got close. Darren Rudd, I am shocked I was able to get some at this price. I was thinking give them away for free so they can practice getting a wallet from a download page to the go, like Instagram, for example. Darren, I really did not expect, I didn't expect for us to get a long window. Honestly, massive price drops in cryptocurrency are achievable in all kinds of different ways. Because they could be on a certain exchange. Suddenly, if some guy comes on to some exchange and buys $100 million of one crypto, the price on that exchange skyrockets. It's not the actual global market price. It's an arbitrage opportunity. And so I expected for folks to be snagging XRP and other cryptos for pretty low prices, but for it to be a sustained market right now at this price where you can literally get these types of prices across any exchange, I'm pretty impressed. I'm pretty impressed. This is about where I was targeting when we had talked about a month or so ago, actually about a month and a half, 2 months ago now, about having some stable coins on the side in order to wait for a price target. Um, and 80,000 for me really wasn't the price target yet. Now we're starting to flirt with it. $70,000 on Bitcoin is going to be a very, very, very strong price point. But it is entirely possible with the way the market is going currently that we see lower prices. And so I'm still sitting around. I've got some stable coins ready. I'm still contemplating the possibility of seeing Bitcoin's price start with a 6 instead of with a 7. I don't know. It is possible. Good morning, AHT. And yes, Epstein and Bitcoin. Yeah. Matter of fact, we even have an article to talk about today about the folks in cryptocurrency that were mentioned in the Epstein files, the recent 3.5 million documents that were released that Pops and I talked about on Saturday as we were first kind of getting to dig into them. Now we know even more, and probably we don't even really know the juiciest bits yet, even with 72 hours plus of time to dig through 3.5 million documents. Who knows what else is left? All right, though, let's go ahead and look at some prices and look at the market real quick. I know also I'll even show everybody. 1 second. Let me get my other screen pulled up. I had a feeling over there that a lot of folks were going to be hanging out. So I even had it pulled up and going, figuring we'd probably get to find out. Well, it looks like it's all bugged out from having time. But yeah, I was very much enjoying that conversation over there. But let's look at the markets. And yeah, everything's not looking great. We are now starting to see a little bit of a recovery from what it was looking like earlier this morning, but Bitcoin below $80,000. Ethereum flirting with the idea of going back down to $2,000. XRP sitting at $1.65. XRP managed to get all the way down to I don't know. 1 second, my computer seems to be going a little slow this morning. 155 being the ultimate low of this morning. That is one heck of an opportunity to pick up some XRP, over half off from our very, very recent all-time highs that just happened back in 2025. And so, not a great day to look at your portfolio. But when it really comes down to it, and you look around at the news going on in the world, fundamentally nothing has honestly changed. And so while the markets are currently having some extreme fluctuations, and it's not crypto alone, look at silver, look at gold, in particular, silver sitting at $79 right now, $26.54 down on the week. Overall, the entire market is struggling. Certain assets seem to be struggling far more than others. A large part of that seems to be being dictated by how recent their price gains are. And so silver massively outperformed gold. Silver seems to be experiencing more of a pullback than gold is. And in the crypto space, it seems like we are very, very, very intentionally pulling back to previous market cycles. This is normal, and that's essentially what we've always done. Anytime that Bitcoin has ever broken into a new price range, it has always fallen back down into the previous price range or the previous little support levels. It's done it every single time that it's had any up leg, and it's doing it again right now. But it's doing it in an entirely different global context when you consider what's going on with M2 and M3 money supply, what's going on in terms of precious metals, and the obvious, very, very obvious attempt to burst the paper silver myth, which that's what I strongly believe has been going on in the precious metals space, is that we're just trying to get to a rectified price point for physical silver and gold, non-digitized. But it really is. It really is. I am so excited about everything going on. And at the same time, I'm so worried about everything that is going on at this point in time because I know what other folks are experiencing in this. And I always think back to that. Essentially, I go back to 2016 and 2017 anytime I see a chart like this because that's what I know. I think about what I experienced during that, and then I think about what everyone else is currently experiencing. And I know how difficult that can be. And unfortunately, the statistics seem to be indicating that the losers in this massive price drop were retail investors, average everyday people who put their money in and are now panicking and are selling at losses. Because unfortunately, the whales are buying more. And so on-chain activity soars as crypto crumbles. Mega whales buying the Bitcoin dip as retail runs for the exits. Crypto prices are slightly rebounding this morning after weakness over the weekend to its lowest since Trump's election victory. From a technical perspective, the recent drawdown is bringing price closer to attractive levels, says Joel Kruger, a market strategist at LMAX Group, and that Bitcoin is likely to find strong support should it drop to around the $70,000 price point. And essentially, the big takeaway is very, very much in the headline on this one. Large retail investors, the whales out there, the big dogs, and I shouldn't even say large retail investors. I should just classify them separately. People who had large amounts already, folks that were already very, very wealthy, they are buying like crazy. And because of the blockchain, we're capable of seeing essentially which wallets are selling at a loss because it's actually quite easy to go through the blockchain and say, okay, I'd like to scan the past 3 months and I'd like to see who made a new wallet in the past 3 months, put crypto into it, and then sold that crypto. And so that's where those numbers are essentially coming from. That's why we're able to pinpoint the fact that retail investors are primarily the ones selling at this point in time is compliments of the transparency of the blockchain. But it is particularly unfortunate when you think about it, because it's a lot of folks getting scared out, getting forced out in many ways of the market. Darren Rutt, I'm not a chart ready, but I think we are going to get a candle, new term for everyone on the macro 5-year chart. Your thoughts? Plus, if we RV and everyone starts buying XRP, price could explode that way. When it comes down to it, the 5-year, those are long-term market cycles. And when you look at cryptocurrency, Darren, typically you're better off looking at a 2 to 5 year market cycle in just about everything in crypto, because that's been the typical cycle. I am not overly worried though. When it comes down to it, I'm not worried about the price drop. I would just wish I had more money right now. And in no way do I believe that this is the lowest point that it can get to. I just wish I had a lot more capital at this point in time to be dollar cost averaging, to be saying, hey, I'm going to make a small purchase at this price point, to do exactly what D. Flynn is doing here. D. Flynn said, my limit order for XRP was filled last night at $1.55. It felt great to be correct for once. That is the position to be in, is to be trying to hit those price points as the candle wicks down and try to pick some of those low points. That's where I wish I just had a lot more capital to be throwing. Then the strategy would be a lot easier to execute. But that same dollar cost averaging strategy that the very wealthy and large institutions utilize, that Warren Buffett tried to scream about for many, many decades and get people to listen to, it works regardless of the amount of capital you start with. Dollar cost averaging is just the idea of, instead of trying to find that exact price point, instead of saying, hey, at this price, I'm going to buy with all the money I have. Instead, essentially, I'm going to attempt to make a purchase on a regular basis, regardless of market conditions, and that you're going to make fairly small purchases, and small being relative to whatever you view as being a small purchase. All right, Rosie, where's the best place to purchase silver XRP? Well, Rosie, I'm not certain on the silver XRP part. The best place, though, to buy XRP, I would honestly look towards Coinbase or Gemini right now. Those would be the two centralized exchanges. And I'm making an assumption, Rosie, that you're based in the United States. If you're in the European Union or something of that nature, there are better exchanges out there for folks that live there. But in the US, I like to go with the big ones. They're publicly traded companies. They're very, very public facing. I go with Coinbase, Gemini, Kraken, Uphold. Just avoid lobster. No lobster. Hey, Rich Roper, Trish, I did get our XP off Coinbase. I think that Trish and Kukla are still over there and enthralled by the conversation with Dr. Max. I'm not certain. All right, SoCal Mom, good morning. Oh, good morning to you, SoCal Mom. Question, it's time for my first midnight redeem, but you're always saying that I cannot redeem my night tokens unless I have Cardano in my wallet to pay the fees. There's a $30 minimum buy. SoCal Mom, that is a great question. And actually, I need to get that video out there for this one. Because SoCal Mom, you do not need to buy $30 of Cardano. What is happening here? I'd like to actually, let's see if I can't give a great example, and I'll use my favorite. I always use this crypto. I don't know when they're going to send me an email and ask me to, be some kind of official partner, but I'm going to use Chainlink as an example. And so, SoCal Mom, the reason that they say you need Cardano to redeem Night is because it is built on the Cardano blockchain. And so I'm going to use Chainlink as an example that, we've talked about before. And so Chainlink is actually built on the Ethereum blockchain. And so Chainlink, if I want to send you Chainlink, SoCal Mom, I pay the gas fees, or I pay the transaction fees for sending you Chainlink. I pay them in Ethereum because Ethereum is the native token of the blockchain. It is the coin, and the token coin thing, and that the definition and those terms are going to confuse people for generations. And I will just go ahead and apologize to the future. Sorry. I don't know why folks decided that those terms were just going to become so easy to confuse. But needless to say, Ethereum is the native coin of the Ethereum blockchain. And so any token that is built on the Ethereum blockchain requires Ethereum to transact in it. And so if I want to send somebody Chainlink, I have to have Ethereum. I have to have Ethereum in order to send Chainlink. It's the same idea here. And so SoCal Mom, you do not need $30 of Cardano. You don't need $30 of Cardano at all. You need a little bit of Cardano. And that's in order to essentially sign the transaction on the Cardano blockchain. We're going to have a video that comes out on this one, but the easiest way to go about it, essentially, SoCal Mom, is remember, you don't need to be in a rush to redeem, but you want to redeem. It's money and it's your money. And so we want to get this redeemed. But your best option is to just get a very, very small amount of Cardano on an exchange like Coinbase, like Gemini, a very, very small amount. And then to send that Cardano to that wallet, SoCal Mom, and then you will be able to withdraw. You'll be able to claim your Midnight tokens. And so that's the most cost-effective way. You're talking a couple pennies are going to end up being what you pay in order to finish this process. But what you're looking at is Euros by Cardano option. And they're saying, we're only going to let you buy if you buy like $30 worth on a credit card or a debit card. You don't need that much, SoCal Mom. You need a very small amount of Cardano to make that claim. But this is the same exact thing that will occur. And this is, let's give another example while it just came to my mind. XRP. And so RLUSD is the stable coin on the XRP ledger, aka on the XRP blockchain. And so what do you pay transaction fees in to send RLUSD? You pay transaction fees in XRP. You have to hold XRP in order to exchange RLUSD because RLUSD runs on the XRP ledger, the blockchain. That may be the best way because I know folks are very, very aware of RLUSD. All right. Oh, Captain Spiffy, welcome. And Captain Spiffy coming in at number 21 on the like button. Thank you so much, Captain Spiffy. Hello, Crazy Chester. MAGA 44. I've never claimed Midnight. Is it worth doing? Well, let's just do a little bit of math real quick. Midnight is currently sitting at about 5 cents per token. And so, as an example, MAGA, if you were to have, say, mined 1,000 Midnight during the free mining scavenger mine phase, you would have about $50 of free crypto sitting there waiting for you. And so ultimately, MAGA, I believe that it is absolutely worth going and claiming and getting. It's free money. And so in the modern world and where everything is currently at, I'll take any amount of asset that I can pick up without having to spend dollars on it. Now, long-term, MAGA, this could go much, much higher. Ultimately, market cap is currently sitting at 787 million. And it's just the beginning of this new sidechain. And so I am making certain I'm not going to miss out on any of mine, MAGA. I'm not in a rush to get it because I'm not in a rush to sell. And so I'm not in like some kind of run out. And so kind of like you, MAGA, I'm not freaking out that I haven't claimed all of my Midnight yet. But I'm definitely not going to let the opportunity slip away, if you know what I mean. It may not be worth a retirement right now, but as a part of a diversified future portfolio, Midnight is focused on privacy chains. It's a privacy side chain and decentralized finance, both of which are two things and two sectors in blockchain technology that I'm a massive supporter of. And so I intend to take those and hold them. I'm going to keep my Midnight. I have no intention of selling my Midnight for a very, very long time, or I'll sell it if the company, makes major mistakes. Rosie, can I purchase fractionalized silver on Coinbase? If so, where to purchase from? Rosie, unfortunately, at this point in time, you cannot purchase fractionalized silver on Coinbase. Unfortunately, you can't. The best fractionalized precious metal option at the moment is Pax Gold. That is PAXG for the token ticker. But we do not have access to Pax Gold on all of our exchanges. I'm actually going to pull it up right now just so that I can point it out. And I regularly use Pax Gold as an example because it is one of the clearest ways of showing people how the new system and the tokenized gold and silver is going to work. It's one of the best. I should say it was my best example. Expect to actually hear about a better example, which may or may not be on the screen. Expect to hear about a better example in the coming couple of episodes. But unfortunately, you can't get it everywhere. But there are options. And so right here, just so everybody can look at it while I'm looking at it, you can acquire Pax Gold, and this is gold-backed crypto. 1 token equals 1 gold ounce. That 1 gold ounce is held in a bank in London. It is third-party audited. There are not more tokens on the blockchain than there are gold ounces in the bank vault. That's how it works. Gold ounce in bank vault, 1 gold token being distributed. You can make purchases of Pax Gold directly through Kraken. Kraken is a US-based cryptocurrency exchange, and you can make a direct purchase through Kraken, and you can buy gold at current spot rate without paying premiums, without paying any of that stuff. And then guess what? When you want to sell it, you can sell it, and you can actually sell it at fair market value. That's a great way of also finding things. Also, remember, guys, remember this little process. If you're curious about a crypto, come to some place like CoinGecko and come down here to the markets section. You can do the same thing with any other crypto out there. XRP, like, hey, I want to know where I can buy XRP. I come to CoinGecko, I type in XRP, I click on it. My computer is running a little slow today, but it's getting there. And then I scroll down. This same thing works with every single crypto. It's the best way of finding out where you can purchase the crypto you're looking for. And it also gives you important information at the same time, because what it also reveals is which markets are liquid. And so XRP, the number one market is currently a competition between Coinbase and Binance at $417 and $419 million in 24-hour volume. And so it also gives a lot of good information there. It shows you the price breakdown, what it's currently trading for, things like that. Highly recommend when you're trying to find a place to get a specific crypto. That's usually the best place to stop at first. But, Rosie, that means you have an option of Coinbase, Kraken, and a multitude of others in order to start buying tokenized gold. I expect tokenized silver to be here very, very soon. Darren Rutt, is there a super chat? I actually have all of those things currently turned off on the channel. I do want to turn them back on at some point in time, but currently I don't think that it is an option. I am approved for all of those types of options. And so, Darren, I very much appreciate you asking, and I'll put it up there, and I'll reactivate it. I will reactivate it if folks do want it. I know it can't hurt. I can get some more crypto. But thank you so much for asking. The Gets say Ray 316. All the pedos hate XRP. Imagine my shock. Sarcasm if I didn't lay it on thick enough. A lot of folks out there are not on the XRP squad. Some of them are just very much trying to protect the old financial system, the old fiat Swift system. Some of them are just not knowledgeable about where we're going. It's a whole mix of folks that get say, Ray. It's hard to really classify all of them. There's also some folks out there that hate XRP from a technology standpoint. I know I've talked to folks in the industry that just do not like the consensus blockchain mechanism. It's just nothing more than that. Just don't like it. Because it feel as if it does not fit with the ideology around a lot of cryptocurrency and decentralized finance. So yeah, it's hard. It's hard sometimes. Whenever someone says that they don't like anything in the modern world, I tend to just wait a second for the explanation, because you just never know where they're going to come from. Not nowadays. You never know whether someone's going to not hate something or hate something, whether it's ideological, market-based, political, whatever. You can just never really guess the reason why anymore. I don't know if that made sense, but I feel like it's very difficult nowadays to figure out. It's far more difficult than it was in the past to figure out why someone does or does not like something. Rosie, you can safely purchase online SD Bullion, Summit Metals, or your local coin shop, physical only. But yes, yeah, they do. The thing is, though, you're going to be paying those premiums in order to get, that smaller silver or gold denomination. Those coins do tend to kind of run you extra. Good morning. Hey there, Amy Joe. Captain Spiffy, get a Glint card. Glint is a great one. And, well, we're going to be talking about it. We're going to be talking about some competition for Glint, actually. Thank you so much, Darren. Thank you so much. Much appreciated, man. The sentiment, if anything. That gets right. It's crazy silver had ran up so much. I started sacking at $20 an ounce. Absolutely. It's been a long time coming, though, on the silver side. It's been a long time coming. Silver should have always been a lot closer to $100 price point, and that's before you even have a conversation about any fundamental changes to its value. Silver was worth $100 30 years ago. And so, in my opinion, it's been a long time coming. It'll be worth one heck of a lot more than it is today, or than it ever was during the highest point of the past couple of weeks. It will be worth far more than that when its actual value is unlocked. And I mean tokenization. With that is when the fundamental conversation about precious metals changes. Suddenly, silver and gold, platinum, and all of these other ones, heck, copper, zinc. I think we could break this down to some what we consider to be very common elements, are going to become far, far more valuable in the new world. I can handle a consensus discussion, but the ones who hate XRP because it's a banker's coin is the main rebuttal I hear, which doesn't even make sense. Let's make money, not quibble about who and how it's used. You got a very you've got a little bit of a like a chaotic neutral type mentality going on now, and you're like, when it comes down to it, I'm just making the best decision at this point in time. I'll leave all of the the armchair historians to make a decision about whether it was the moral option in the future. Yeah. That gets racist. I love seeing another lady stacking silver. Such a boy sport. We need more ladies into those sports. Absolutely. I think there's a lot of guys out there too that are looking for ladies that are more financially, I won't say literate. That's not fair, because men and women, I believe, are pretty equally financially literate. They just have a different mentality maybe on saving. Men have far more of a saving mentality than women, and that is just my experience. But I think so. The same thing has always been said in crypto. cryptocurrency has always been said it's a boy sport. The stock market, it's a boy sport. Precious metals, it's a boy sport. But in all honesty, I think the fellas, we need help on that front. We need help. And so we need more ladies taking those type of markets very, very seriously. Yeah, that's the lady you want. You want the lady who is sitting there and looking at the silver and gold jewelry and is saying, man, this is going to be so pretty to wear. But also think about how much this is going to be worth in 10 years. Absolutely. Girls, very intuitive, forward thinking, amazing planners, far, far better than us. That's why I think women need to take investing more seriously. Because y'all are far better planners, infinitely better planners than we are. Yeah, hey, absolutely. Absolutely. I have a feeling that we're going to have some very interesting conversations with future generations. And in many ways, the same way that we get to look back at things that happened in prior generations and say, well, why didn't my great, great, great grandfather, why didn't he start a company selling, mining picks and gold panning, shovels and such back in the gold rush? We can all look back and look at those time periods. And what I hope for is that we get to be in that position where future generations look back and they say, why didn't you do this? And you say, well, that's why I did it. And that's why, that's why you have a trust fund. I think we're going to get that opportunity. Oh, absolutely. Being able to give the future generations an advantage. That's probably one of the best blessings that can possibly be given. No kid will realize that blessing until they get older. But once they finally do, hey, they're going to be making certain that grandma does not miss out on a birthday card or a Christmas card, because they'll realize what she did for them. Yep. Kids and grandkids are going to say our crazy granny stacked silver and told us that Timu crap can stay in China. Yeah. Yeah. They'll think you're a little crazy. They'll think you're a little crazy, but they'll appreciate you. They will. All right. Let's go over and look at some more articles that we've got up today. Crypto figures. All right. Well, it's happened to all the other industries. We've seen it across politics. We've seen it across Bill Gates trying to Bill Cosby Melinda Gates with some antibiotics after he had a little tryst with a Russian lady of the night. We've seen it everywhere. And, well, cryptocurrency was not innocent entirely. Undoubtedly, there are a lot of very wealthy people in the industry that have been a part of the entrenched elite for a while. And so a few names popped up. And so wanted to go through that list real quick. A few names, some expected, some unexpected. But yeah. Well, let's see. All right. Peter Thiel being probably one of the bigger names. Peter Thiel, co-founder of payment platform PayPal and a major crypto investor. Also, long time. I don't know whether they consider themselves to be arch nemesis. I'm really not certain. But remember that Elon Musk actually got his start by selling the technology for PayPal to PayPal. And so these are guys that have known each other for a long time. But ultimately, Peter Thiel, major crypto investor, wrote an op-ed in the Financial Times back in 2025, stating that the second term of U.S. President Donald Trump would shed light on the Epstein files. He even invoked the Greek term apocalypsis. Where is Kukla? I know she'd be all excited. We got a Greek term going, meaning to bring into the light. Thiel said that most Americans mistrusted the official story that he died by unaliving himself. I can't believe that we have to say things like that because certain terms aggravate stuff. But by unaliving himself, He argued that the distributed idea suppression complex. Oh man, gotta love the pronunciation of that little acronym. That's honestly one of those opportunities where you change the acronym. It's not even the acronym isn't accurate. Distributed idea suppression complex should be DISC. All right. Things that my brain can't get past. A conspiratorial term coined by Eric Weinstein, the managing director of Thiel Capital. All right. Thiel had extensive correspondence with Epstein, discussing world politics, Thiel's lawsuit with Gawker, and planning meetups. Epstein invested $40 million in Thiel's Valor Ventures and even invited him to visit his notorious island in the Caribbean. Despite this extended correspondence, Peter Thiel's representatives have told the New York Times that he never visited Epstein's island. That leaves all the information we've got on Peter Thiel at the moment. Adam Back, Austin Hill, and Joy Ito. 2014, Epstein took part in the $18 million seed round of blockchain technology company Blockstream. Throughout the deal, Epstein corresponded with the co-founders, Austin Hill and Adam Back. According to documents posted by the DOJ, Epstein's personal investment of $50,000 in blockchain was made through MIT Media Lab director Joy Ito's fund. MIT's Media Lab director. All right. Back stated that the relationship began and ended with the investment, of course, trying to distance himself. Coming in another big crypto name, Elon Musk, showed up in the files fairly substantially. Honestly, I kind of believe that some of the Elon Musk emails are real. I don't believe that Elon Musk was going around trying to do anything near as sordid as what was going on with everyone else that was a part of the Epstein list. But I tend to believe that, I don't know, Elon Musk, I don't know. He seems like somebody that, he does have a kid with like what? I don't even know how many different wives there are now. I don't know. Potato. I am not in any way positive about anything, but I'm just saying, if I were a gambling man, I believe that Elon Musk was trying to party. If I were a gambling man, that's where I'd place my money. But needless to say, few more names popped up. Brian Johnson, longevity enthusiast, billionaire Brian Johnson, mentioned in the files 8 years ago. He claims he met him, never actually hung out. Howard Lutnick, U.S. Secretary of Commerce, he popped on up in the documents. They even hung out back in May of 2011. Brock Pierce. Now, here is an interesting one. Cryptocurrency investors and Tether co-founder Brock Pierce wrote on several occasions to Epstein. This one's quite interesting, and I actually have more that I want to cover specifically on Brock Pierce. For those that are not aware, Brock Pierce lives in Puerto Rico. Brock Pierce hosts regularly events down here in Puerto Rico. I have never attended one of his events, but I know people who have invited me to Brock Pierce's cryptocurrency events. Never heard of anything being odd about them, but I do have a feeling that we might be covering that one a little bit more in the future, because I've got the ability to get some information that I don't think anyone else would have access to on that front. And I'm very curious. This is somebody who I'm not a fan of. And so I'm going to be digging in to the information on this one in particular depth, just because I might have the ability to learn a little bit extra. Because yes, Brock Pierce, 2011, the two arranged a meeting in New York. Other emails regarding scheduling calls, Google Meets. 2015, Pierce sent Epstein an email describing investment opportunities in Coinbase and discussing Epstein's investment in Blockstream. Further emails between Pierce and Epstein's accountant, Richard Kahn, suggest the former was brokering a deal for an investment in Coinbase. In a heavily redacted screenshot of a WhatsApp group from May 2018, a photo of Pierce is featured. One chat participant, supposedly Epstein, acknowledged that Pierce taught him all about crypto. All right, we got another one. Michael Saylor popped up in the Epstein files. Michael Saylor, probably the most famous face of Bitcoin out there, because he is the owner and operator of MicroStrategies, the publicly traded company that happens to be the largest holder of Bitcoin on the planet, because they just decided that, well, honestly, his business was failing decades ago. Michael Saylor, his business was failing, had been failing for a long time, but he had a lot of capital. He started many, many years ago, placing all of that capital into Bitcoin, and essentially MicroStrategies has just become a company that holds Bitcoin. That's really all they do. They claim that they have other streams of income through consultation, etc., and they probably do, but it's infinitesimally small in comparison to their Bitcoin holdings, making him a very, very big name to be thrown out there, because there are a lot of folks that hold on to every word that this man says. All right, strategy chair Michael Saylor appears in the files through third-party correspondence. Documents do not show any direct communications between Saylor and Epstein, but instead reference him in emails exchanged between Epstein and New York-based publicist Peggy Segal. She described Saylor, nice guy who wants to upgrade his social life. She also noted Saylor's boat, 160-foot Fed ship. A couple of months later, recounted a dinner party in which Saylor was present. She said he was like sort of like a zombie on a drug. We had smart directors sitting next to him in his idiot gorgeous date and could not get any conversation out of him except, I have a yacht, I'm taking to Canes. An earlier email from James Coleman of Hanley Advisors, clued into the conversation, suggested that Saylor is a typical computer guy who's trying to break out into social acceptance. I think he has been taking the wrong route from what I can tell and thrown a lot of money in attracting the wrong crowd. But that would be the biggest names so far that have come out in terms of the cryptocurrency industry that were in the recent Epstein file release. Needless to say, there are probably other names that are still there that, you know, we just haven't really dug to yet. But as of right now, those are the big names in the crypto industry that were found as a part of it. Howard Lutnick, I mean, that guy, talk about a lying snake. He is the one who, isn't he the one who is his neighbor? And claimed, you know, that while being his neighbor, and he was his neighbor in 2008, when literally Epstein was convicted of child trafficking. This guy was his neighbor and he never had anything to do with him, and talked about all this crap about how him and his wife immediately knew that Epstein was a horrible person. And then we find out in the 3.5 million files that, well, he must not have been that horrible of a person, because Mr. Howard and his wife and all their kids went to Epstein Island. And this was in 2011, 3 years after you found out that Epstein was a child trafficker. You took your kids. And so, yeah, these type of people, I just don't even understand. I don't even understand how they can try to push the degree of lies that they do and think that it's just going to work out that way. Why go public? Like, if you're guilty, just shut up. Just shut up and disappear. But for some reason, they think that the average person is so stupid and that they are so well protected that they can literally go out there, lie to you, the proof come out that they lied, and that it just won't matter. And that somehow it was still better that they came out and lied in the first. I don't get it. I don't get it. All right. Started a stack for your 3 kids. That is absolutely awesome. They're going to have precious metals and crypto in the future to make things a whole lot easier. Peter Thiel, PayPal Mafia founder, Palantir CEO. He put on JD Vance. Yeah, Peter Thiel is he's one of those characters. Yeah, the get say race. So the human traffickers thought Michael Saylor was an awkward weirdo. That does really place that insult into context. Yeah, that really places the insult into context when you're being judged by such folks. All right, though, guys. Um, uh, that pretty much covers most of the things that I wanted to talk about today. I know when it comes down to it, we were all over the place with the conversation, but in a large parts, especially when things like the market right now are going on, I promise you from experience, there is no answer that is going to make things better in any short term. Effectively, we're just going to have to weather the storm. That's where I am at. I am weathering the storm and I'm looking towards the different things and the focuses that I should be placing my capital towards. Where should any dollar that Zester can get be going right now? That's where I'm going to focus. And I'm definitely not spending any extra time looking at the overall portfolio. And I would recommend, unless you really need the money and you're looking to sell, I'd recommend everyone else out there take the same mindset. Whenever you see things like this, looking at the overall portfolio, it's not going to make you make better decisions. You're not going to be a better investor or more logical investor on account of it. And so, definitely, if you find yourself getting stressed out looking at the portfolio, don't look at it. Don't look at it. Look at it in a week or two. Look at it in a month. Time will tell. And well, in cryptocurrency, luckily, time has always been the ultimate savior. D. Flynn, I went to a Ron Paul rally in 2007. A lot of people paid in Ron Paul silver coins. The cashier didn't know what to do with them, so I bought them all at $5 an ounce. That is awesome, D. Flynn. That is awesome. That is too cool of an opportunity. That's a great idea, though. Gonna have to start following around some of the gold-backed dollar, silver-backed dollar companies and seeing if you can't pick up some cheap ones from folks that end up with one and don't know what they're doing. All right, though, guys. Thank you so much for joining this Monday. We will be back on Wednesday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This week, I don't know which day it'll be, but either Wednesday or Friday, we're going to be doing a deep dive on Kinesis. The other day, we'll be doing prediction markets. And so I haven't decided which day we're doing which, but those are the next two streams. We're looking at Kinesis for one and prediction markets for the other. And so, AKA, we're gambling one day this week because that's really what prediction markets are. But we'll gamble together. And maybe we'll win some money. Who knows? All right, though. Love you guys. Thank you so much. Hope to see you soon.